Well, hello, friends. It's about that. It's about that time. We're here. It's a Friday. We've gotten through another week somehow. It's first. Can you hear me? It's a new computer, so I don't know if I have the audio set up right. Can anybody hear? Can typing this into chat first. Free beer. Maybe that will work. Can anyone hear me? Can you hear me? It's new computer. I don't know if we're having issues yet with this. It's who knows. I have bad luck with these things sometimes. Waiting for Akiko to come in and tell me yes, we can. Yes, excellent. Hi, hello, Leo. Hi, Jim. It's look. I'm always paranoid that I'm going to be sitting here talking to myself for an uncomfortably long period of time before someone's like, Yvette, you are talking to yourself as usual. Hello, everyone. I'm coming to you live on a brand new computer. It's very exciting. It's new enough that I can actually use all the features that come with Restream. It's nice. It's lovely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Petra. This is what my hair does now. Is I think I might have mentioned it before. Another week of doing this, I started taking oral minoxidil, and there's more of it, and it's growing in curly, which that was a surprise. Apparently, I'm going the second half out curly, so that's what's up with that. I'm hoping I can lure in a few people who are mad in the comment section from the article I posted today, who are just dying to let me know that there are only two genders and just want to argue about it. Like, I'm here for an argument today. I'm down for that. Like, look, normally on a day when I'm running echo of the audio though, or echo of the audio before I see it come. How bad is it? Please tell me how bad the audio is. Because we can look. It's the first time street. It is. It's look. We're busting this computer's cherry right now. It's very hot for me. Okay, it's hot for me. I don't know if it's hot for anyone else. I'm having a good time with this. I'm so happy to finally have a computer that's not like, hey, you click something, you gotta wait 20 seconds. All right, so not can live, but it's on. Let's see. Hear you quite clear, no echo. Leo, it's a personal problem. Maybe you got to check that. Let's see. Arthur, proud that you were wrong about the vax. Oh, I have a YouTube troll. What do you mean proud that you were wrong about the vaccines? Arthur, go ahead. Fucking elucidate what you mean on that deeply held conviction and or point you think you've got. Because I'm just saying, Arthur, I don't think you have the point that you think you do. But also, I probably don't. I don't. If you have nothing more than nonsense or talking points that you heard from Pat Robertson or Rush Limbaugh, they can't help you now, buddy. They're not here for you. Oh no. But yeah, vaccines do work. Like, if it's been approved for market, it works, and it's a vaccine. Probably works to prevent disease. Like, I'm just saying, polio went down to not being a thing. Smallpox eradicated. Like, are you saying wrong about? Like, I want to know. Go fucking elucidate. But until you come up with a cogent argument, I wasn't wrong about fuck all, buddy. I mean, I'm wrong occasionally, not about vaccines. So that's that. Anyway, but yeah, today reposted an article about and I apologize if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. I do not speak Portuguese. I mean, here's the thing: the name here's the thing. I'm being thrown off a little bit by the umlaut over the u. I don't know if I'm pronouncing my brain automatically goes to Guevadotes, and I'm like, I could be pronouncing this incorrectly. But I reposted that article after seeing the pushback that SGU got when they posted a piece talking about how we've gotten past the gender binary, or we've gotten past that being like the paradigm by which we look at gender. And look, I understand. Look, I'm the eldest. I'm an ancient millennial. I'm a geriatric millennial, whatever that fucking term is supposed to mean. I'm so old, I should have a better economic status than I do. But look, there's I understand that it's taken a little bit of time to wrap our heads around, new ways of looking at gender other than just, boy put in blue, girl put in pink. But hold on a second. We have a tiny visitor, a very cute tiny visitor who I shouldn't have put the status of this on blur background because this is the cutest part of the show. Oh, bubble, not in the mouth, boy. There's a joke there somewhere. Pretend we made it and move on. Let's see. Petra did someone remember rolling a big stone on Pat and Marsha's grave? Look, the good thing about Pat Robertson dying is that now there's another gender-neutral toilet available. Use early, use often. But people were so you don't care about women's spaces and opportunities. Okay, thank you, Vel. I knew someone was gonna come in and say it. Somebody was gonna come in and say the thing. Go ahead. All right. So Velma, I want to know how often do you think it's happening? And I want numbers here. I want specific numbers from you. How often, percentage wise, from all the women's sports, there are so many, there are tons of women's sports, right? Like from pee-wee sports all the way on up to professional Olympic level, like all the sports that are happening, like today alone, what, thousands of various games, competitions, matches, scrimmages, whatever happening. How many of those do you think are being do you think even have a trans competitor in them? And never mind have a trans competitor, how many do you think have no. I want you to try to use your side brain and think of all the female no, I want you. I asked you a question first. How many do you think even have a trans woman? How many do you think there are? My poor microphone. I'm abusing my microphone for you, Velma. You don't deserve a good. Okay, several. Oh, Velma, you really. So like six out of all of high school. I just want to look. I played high school girls volleyball and I played college girls volleyball. I was a really good volleyball player. I'm 5'9". I have some terrifying fucking arms on me. My brother was a trans man, and before he transitioned, before he had a drop of testosterone injected into him, he muscled up like a guy. So I want to know, and my testosterone levels, I've had them checked, are completely typical, completely average as fuck for a woman. All right, is it fair to another woman to have to compete against me, who has muscles like my brother, who muscled up like a dude before he even transitioned? Was it fair to me to have to compete against this 6'2" fucking behemoth of a woman when I was playing in high school, who just no, I'm not done. Go ahead. Was it fair for me to have to compete against a 6'2" woman who she was a biological female in high school who just happened to be 6'2"? Because some of us are tall. Some of us are very tall. And that's just a part of biology, is that there are different heights. that happen within cisgendered people. So was it fair that we had to compete? Yeah, because that's how the categories go. Now, it's been studied, and it's been the conclusion hath been determined that after about 2 years of hormones, of hormone therapy, that the muscles tend to shrink because testosterone, hell of a drug. The muscles tend to shrink, and at that point, even though they might be taller, yes, they've got these taller limbs, these longer bodies, and they have to that are being carried around by weaker muscles. Do you see what I'm getting? They're not. It's not. There's not a huge advantage here, right? They've looked at people who are, and very often they're like, we're looking at middle of the packers, right? It's not. You hear about the occasional. Is it Leah Thomas or I don't want to. Is it Leah Thomas or Leah Thompson? We're talking about what, the Leah Thomases of the world. This is, one out of very few that's an elite level athlete. Most athletes are average as fuck, right? Like, I ran marathons for a little while there, for about 5 minutes before it was like, oh, Yvette's joints have gone by. Is most athletes, like, if you take an average marathoner, a guy who's a middle of the pack marathoner, and they transition, they're going to go from a middle of the pack dude to a middle of the pack woman. That's how that works. And I think that I think that's something that we miss more often than not. There is research to back this up. So it's not like it's not like you have a guy. You have a guy on day, and I think this is something that people like you, Velma, you cannot possibly. I say this, and I know you could possibly. It has to at this point be a deliberate misunderstanding, because people aren't saying, they're not going on day one, I'm a woman, you have to let me play women's sports this 2 day before I've taken any hormones, and this is how it's going to be, and I don't care if you don't like it. There's a 2-year period of having to be on hormones and having to show that they had the same hormone, but within the same range as a, quote, typical assigned female as a cis woman. So there's a range, but recently, and this is just so ridiculous, because the transphobia is starting to affect cis women. So I believe in England, they have banned women from cycling competitively who have testosterone above a certain level, and looking at naturally occurring testosterone. This bans a lot of women who have polycystic ovarian syndrome. It bans women who have, again, typical hormone profiles for a cis woman. North Carolina had 15 high school trans athletes last year. Only 2 were trans. Look, I'm just saying, I don't believe you, Mr. Someone with a name like Alphabet Soup. That sounds, I don't know. I do not believe you. There was, on the other hand, in Texas, there wasn't, like I said, on the other hand, in I want to say it was Texas, where they had a ruling that you had to, if you transit, whatever, you had to play in the category of whichever of the gender you were assigned at birth. And there was a kid who was there was a kid who had transitioned, who was on testosterone, who was forced to play against the girls, because they were assigned female at birth. So I'm not sure how making people play in their assigned categories at birth is helping anyone. Hi, I live in North Carolina. I'm not sure, like, how saying that, like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe the boys are like, what was I need to know what your source was on this. Like, because every time I hear something like this, the source tends to be bullshit. The source tends to be utter fucking bullshit, because I have yet to meet a guy who's like, yeah, I definitely want to compete against the girls to win my ribbons. Like, let's see, it was from U.S. News. Yeah, U.S. News and U.S. News and World is not. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's have you. Hold on. U.S. News and World. Give me a quick moment. Quick moment here, because U.S. News and World. U.S. News and World report, or U.S. News and World. If you can, see, cbc.ca. And that crazy man who was, oh yeah, and there was I was talking about this earlier today. This guy who just went up to an elementary school track meet and started screaming at a 9-year-old, that he didn't believe she was, whatchamacallit, he was sure that this 9-year-old girl was trans, and just ran up and he wasn't a parent at the school, just saw track meet and just was sure that this 9-year-old girl was trans. Kids haven't really, like, it's, in terms of their physicality, they don't have, boatloads of testosterone or estrogen flowing through them at that age. He was sure that this 9-year-old girl was trans, ran up and started screaming, demanding proof that she was a cis girl. And I let's see, only people are who are trans are not switching gender. Oh, okay, sorry, I missed. So, anyways, Carrie, I'm gonna finish this up. Might have missed the. Did I saw it wrong? All right. People are okay. I'm sorry, Alphabet Soup. I misread your message. I have slightly blurry contacts, which it's just ever so often I will try to get what I can out of a message, and I think I got the whole thing. I apologize. You had it correct. Anyways, yeah, this guy thought. Now I saw this article yesterday, and it's like this. He thought, yeah, it's thank I'm sorry and thank you and your big hearts. Anyways, so try breathing in between. I'm very bad at that. I don't. Anyways, so let's see. He thought this girl was trans because she had a pixie cut. So here's the problem. Like I had a pixie cut when I was a little kid. A lot of little kids get their hair cut short, and this person demanded this again. It was an adult man who didn't have a child at the school or competing in this track meet, demanded proof that a 9-year-old girl was cis. I want to know, if you're demanding proof that a 9-year-old has a vagina and you're not related to them and you're not their doctor, I don't know, that sounds kind of like you're a pedophile or a groomer. It seems a lot like these people are very obsessed with children's genitals. I'm just saying. But yeah, when I hear stories about there being tons, so my friend Dawn Ennis has to be Dawn, if you're watching, I love you. Dawn Ennis, she's a trans woman and she's also a journalist, and she bravest woman I know. Yeah, right. This guy has to prove he's not a pedo. Dawn is the bravest woman I know. She went on fucking Newsmax, a trans woman. She went on Newsmax to talk about the trans women in sports issue. And one of the things, and I'd have to double check the clip. I'd have to ask her for the stats on this, but she had been covering trans women in sports because that's part of her beat. And she went on and talked about it, and I was shocked. It was maybe the nicest Newsmax has ever been to a guest, but they were actually fucking cordial to her. What? They were cordial to her, and she answered their questions, and they were, and they actually gave her a chance to talk. When they asked, what's the deal? They were asking, and she told them, it's only, give or take, about 200 women total competing at various higher levels in that. It's like, you're not going to hear about this all the time. And it's like through all of sports, through all these competitions, through all of this, there aren't a lot. And I mean, at what point is a trans girl allowed to be good at something, to excel? Like, it's like I have a decent number of trans friends. I mean, my brother was a trans man, and he was competitive in sports. And at one point, I say, most of you guys know this, I say was, not because he stopped being trans, but because he stopped living. So it was I had a rough couple of years there, kids. But it's I see this, and I know that like Leo couldn't there was a little while there where there were sports he couldn't compete in that he played because he was on testosterone, and even though he was on testosterone to bring his hormones to natural level, or sorry, typical levels, I don't know what the correct or what the preferred terminology is there, but he brought to bring his hormones to typical levels for a man, and just but because he was taking a testosterone supplement, there were certain sports that he just wouldn't have been able to compete in. And I don't know what the right thing is for that. I know that a while ago there was a pole vaulter, standard levels. I think that's a good term. Yeah, I'm gonna double check because I know that there's a big old book of journalists like, hey, you have a question about how to phrase this. Here's the way here's how we're doing this now, if that makes sense. But I'll do stand. Thank you for that, Saga. But yeah, it's key. Seeing, yeah. It's been like, no, sorry, I'm having a bit of a stuttering moment there. But yeah, I want to know when is someone who's trans allowed to just go out and excel in a sport that they like? I know that there was a while ago, I want to say it was a pole vaulter. There was a pole vaulter who transitioned. Who they were Olympic level, and they transitioned from female to male. And I believe that they never went back out to pole vault at the Olympic levels because they just couldn't because of the transition. So it's not always it's not always so cut and dry on like, oh, it's trans women are taking over. Really, most people playing most sports and are not gonna see people at it's like are not like if you're not gonna you're not going to see a trans woman who is middle of the pack, middle-aged marathoner dude who transitions. They're not going to suddenly become Paula Radcliffe. Okay, that's not how it's going to happen. You will see people who are competitive at the upper levels change they might change where they are in the rankings a little bit, but like I believe when Leah Thomas, like she won one race. She didn't win all the races she was in. If you know anything about swimming, and I do because I grew up at the pool, like you don't winning one race does not mean she took gold and everything. It's a very like you see a you see a cis woman or a trans woman win one thing, and it's like, oh no, sports are over forever. Really? Well, I guess men's sports were over forever during the battle of the sexes back in the day. Tennis was over for men. Really? Could we not? Could we be better than this? I mean, I know that we're not going to be better than this, but could we be better than this? Just to, anyways, that's my fervent prayer. Be better. But I bring up the example of the Guevados just because it's like this is something where my Shirley Temple curls are coming in. I'm not. They range between adorable and completely unmanageable. Thank you for noticing, Akika. I remember when I first said I had curly hair, and you're like, you have curly hair. I'm like, bitch, you will see. You will love my curl. I'm just there. There's something. When I look at them, all I can think of is if my brother were alive to see them, he would just sit there and going boing boy, like I can hear his voice going boing boing. It's just so I got the dude must abide. I must keep the curls. Like any little things I can do to keep Leo around. And my hair suddenly being like, and we are curls now. You are to become curl monster. They must stay with me. So good times. I'm just going to take this camera and I got to show you something super cute because he's sleeping. Oh, look at that. Look at that little floof. Oh, look at that little guy. I'm just saying, I know you guys all have the cutest dogs too. And the rule is that all dogs are the best dog. But my friend, my neighbor back at my mom's place, Annette, she has the best rule for this. All dogs are the best dog. Your dog is the best dog. My dog is the best dog. Their dog is the best dog. All dogs are the best dog. This is my best dog. Joe Shy Pup. I think you guys have met the other two dogs of the house here at this point because I'm in new digs now, of course, in North Hollywood. So it's a good little I like this place. It's a nice little spot in the universe. Behind me is the porch that at some point we'll do. We'll do a little tour of the backyard. It's my roommate and I have set up a whole wonderful little home gym on the back porch. It's been a long labor of love, and I'm very excited to continue working on the gun show. There's been like I'm doing pull-ups now. I'm all athletic. It's great. Let's see. Fear of trans women in sports is a reflection of a deep-seated belief in immutable male superiority. Unfortunately, most sports were designed by and for men, so this reinforces this belief. It's true. No, and I mean that is an exceptionally good point. And there are sports that women are just better at, or different. There are these videos that I've seen a ton of online. Men and women, or men and women gymnasts challenging each other to try their own individual moves, because men and women do very different gymnastics moves. And it's interesting watching them try, like, that if they'd started training at these younger, they could probably do them. But like, is a female gymnast better than a male gymnast because they can do this thing that they've worked at for a while? Who's to, male gymnast better than a female? Because it's like different body types, different capabilities. Now, there are like certain things that come with muscling up easier. There are certain things that come with generally being taller, but there are sports that, and I mean, it's hard to know what's accurate about ultra distance running. Now, I used to, like, I loved running so much, and I'm very sad that my hips are like, no more. But like, I used to read everything I could and just gobble up stuff about ultra marathoning. And it looks like the longer distances we travel, the longer distances we push our bodies across, there seems to be less and less of a percentage difference between the elite men and women. So it's not, I mean, to the point where sometimes women are taking home the hardware at these bigger races. They're taking home the gold at these ultra races. I mean, marathon, no, but ultra marathon, if you can run 100 miles, you might be able to beat a man at it. So there's no one, direct rule of man better at this, woman better at that. And no, you're absolutely right that the fear of trans women in sports is, men are doing, it's like, again, a trans woman is not a man. And this belief that it's just a man in a wig is gross. And I was about to say I hate, but I'm like, I think the more is more of a sarcastic. I love when Steven Crowder and these other far right wing grifters do their little videos of them going into a gym with there goes my pop filter. Me getting ready for this thing is just a lot of me tripping over cords. So I'm not surprised that the pop filter's like, we're going this way. But yeah, there's swim times reflect. Oh, that makes sense. That makes, the longer the distance with swim and the big, the big, I was saying there was, what was her name? Was it Diana something who did the swim from Florida to Cuba? Like, I mean, a woman is the best in the world at that because no man's done it. And it's just, when you get to certain points, it's like, can you do the endurance and can you tolerate the pain? And, the endurance, sometimes it's a matter of having the time and putting, devoting your entire fucking life to that. And with pain, I'm sorry, boys, but like, I'm just saying, I think women are better at tolerating pain than men. I don't have a study, but also I wouldn't be surprised if there was a study. So I don't know if there is any study on that though, but look, maybe it's also a different kind of pain thing. So in principle, I have no problem with people competing on a level playing field. Only how do you go about doing that? Female, female, male, male, tall, short. Now, Michael, that's the thing. We have for a long time done it, by female, female, male, male. And just, that is an easy way to just write down the fucking dividing line. Now here's the thing: the way that we've been doing this for a while with trans men and women is after 2 years of hormones. You can compete at least. I mean, the International Olympic Committee. That's the way they've done their rules. So I'm fine with their rules for this. Like that. That's acceptable to me. I have no I have no issue with that. I don't see the need to change it up with tall, short, with short. Like there's no like my ex tried to say, why don't we do different levels of first tier, second tier, third tier? And I just said to them, I'm like, because in many sports that would end number one, that would end up with men on first tier most of the cases, depending on the sport. If we want height, if we want strength, just because of the way the bodies muscle up and where the height is tends to be allotted, that's where it goes. But also, we there are, and I mean, I've seen this in various cases, and there have been documented cases of this, where if just one or two women get onto teams where where it's mostly men, the men are going to be brutal to they tend to, this has been, they will be physically more aggressive towards the women, because that's just some fucking misogynistic bullshit that they do. So there are safety reasons for that, and I don't think that that's a thing that, and I mean, I'm sure there's someone who's a transphobe who would be like, you see, the trans women would do that to the, no, because trans women are women and they're not going to be raging misogynists. They're on the receiving end of the misogyny with us. So again, I think a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of transphobia that trans women receive is a version of misogyny. At least that's how I've come to look at it over time. Because a lot of what they're getting is like, because what is like a lot of misogyny, at least that I've received over the years, because like I grew up bigger. I grew up getting a lot of of you're a fat ugly hag, and you're not woman enough because you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not presenting you're not presenting as female. And like I think that like I said, being tall, having a somewhat lower voice, and being fatter, I got, I don't want to say transphobia, but I got the type of misogyny that like people will level at trans women, and it's because you're not feminine enough, right? Like your womanhood is almost dependent, or the way that people socially categorize you as a woman, right? That's often um, right. That's often dependent on how people see you, how people just visually code you. I mean, you see there are. And I mean, I know the term passing is passe. I know the term passing is not a term that a lot of us like. But does it suck that we even have to have? Yes, it super sucks that we're still having these discussions. But as a bisexual woman, we were having discussions on if I even existed back in the day, and I super fucking exist. I'll exist in your nightmares. Sorry. But yeah, here's the thing. Like, if you'd asked a bunch of us back in the 90s if gay marriage was going to be legal in our lifetimes, we'd be like, oh, mm, mm. Like it was, I'm sure I've told this on here before. Like the first time I told, someone that I told other friends that I was bisexual in high school. Like one of the first friends that I told that I was bisexual, that I'd known since I was a little kid, and I was in high school, and a very few people were out back in the day, and like that was like no one was out as a full gay, but a few people, there were rumors that they were bisexuals, and people were not nice to them, and I told just like one or two people at my high school, very few, just a couple people at my high school, and one of them that I'd known since I was a very little kid. She, as high school girls do, we had a bit of a not of a we had a bit of a not even say a falling out. Just she had herself a little mood one day. She was a little bit of a tip. Well, she was not very happy with me, and she was caught by one of my girlfriends, who I was very fortunate to be. The class president was good. It was a good friend of mine. She caught her making posters saying my last name used to be Lehman. It was my father's last name. She caught her making posters saying Yvette Lehman is a big dyke to put all over my locker. Back into the closet for another decade for me. That was fun. So yeah, like 15 to 25, right back into the closet. And it was weird because like I was mostly dating men, but also like there's this whole like maybe I don't know, maybe that would have been a thing that was less, that wasn't seen quite as quite a, I don't know, maybe I would have seen it as a fucking option, or in high school. In like, it feels knowing, having, friends who have been, in, about, getting out of high school around now-ish. It feels like, at least, like, I know people whose kids have gotten out of junior high, and they're like, yeah, once they got to high school, kids were also accepting about being gay. And I'm like, high school? High school, that's what it was like getting to college for us. That's what it's like getting to what? They're accepting in high school in small towns, like, and she lived in a relatively small town. I was like, really? That's how it is? Oh my god! And I don't know if it's changing now with all these super weird, creepy, like, everyone's a pedo. If we can, like, I don't know. I remember things being rough in the 90s when, like, our friends couldn't come out as gay, and then 5 minutes after we got out of high school, we found out everyone was gay, and it was like, oh, it's fine, it's fucking fine. And now, like, I don't know what generation, what group, where who the people are that were so, like, we were all happy and comfortable and fine and thrilled when it was like, oh, all the people who were secretly miserable in high school and would have loved, we would have all loved if they could have just, gotten into relationships with people they were actually interested in. Like, why couldn't that have been part of high school life? That would have been so much easier. But instead, like, I want to know who thinks this is better. Who thinks it's better to be like, no, if you say my partner at a school board meeting, at whatever, that's grooming. I don't know how that works. I just had a conversation about what might have been if we had the same permissions to exist as Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Oh my god. I'd say I never would have been with men, but that's a fucking lie. I'm a slut. I would have been with more women, not fewer men. So just look, I'm single again. Shit's afoot. Moving on. I'm just, yeah. Let's see. I hate when they use the word homophobic. It's a card people like to. Let's see. I'm not sure if I understood what you meant by that. See, as a 92, I didn't know anyone who was out, but more than a few people who came out, and we're all, yeah. Let's see. Scrolling, trying to see any questions I missed. Give it a second to scroll back on up. It's about the time of the day. Let's see. I got to take off at about 5:30. My roommate and I have there are dastardly plans afoot. It's interesting the IOC believes transfer is fair after 2 years in sports. I was unaware of that. Yeah. I don't know if that's still the case, but it was last time I checked. Let's see. I want to go back and have a look. I was unaware of that as an ally. I've always really tried hard to reconcile how we'd ever be able to have a trans person in competitive sports in a way that didn't leave trans men just unable to compete and trans women just pushing cis women out of sports. It gives me more information. There you go. And there are, if you shoot me, Michael, there was, Michael Sims, there, I'm going to try to find it for you if I can. There is a trans woman who's done a lot of research into trans women in sports and how transitioning affects their abilities. And that's kind of where I've gotten a lot of my information. I mean, and it's partially because there's no other source of information. No, and you're welcome, of course. But there's, like, she basically said, oh, there's no other research. I'm going to go out and do some looking. And what makes that hard is that I always like to see if there are other, reputable, like, has anyone else corroborated this? Are there other researchers out there doing this? Now, there doesn't seem to be anyone out there, like, there are people using some specious statistics at best, some statistics that I'm like, really? But is it like, I don't see anyone out there doing the work as well as she does. And she transitioned and saw her time slow down and saw, like, she was in the middle of the packer, and she was like, I wonder what's what the deal is, and when I saw her research, I was like, oh, most people who transition are just people like you and me who want to go to the gym and keep themselves in shape and might join like a little, might join a league or something with their friends to play some volleyball or keep themselves in shape and have, as we all do, some camaraderie, right? And they're not out there. And here's two points. One is most of them aren't out there winning competitions, but two, if they are, after they've been on hormones for a couple of years, and like I said, they've got less muscles to carry around bigger bones, that seems to put them at a, I don't know, similar ish advantage slash disadvantage. Like it seems that it wipes out, and like it seems to level the playing field to have those 2 years of hormones. Now I'm again, it's hard to say, like, is there here that when it comes to athletic advantage versus disadvantage, like who knows where the exact advantage and disadvantage lies? Because you can, like, you ask you ask a coach, they'll say, yeah, there's things are more intense. You ask some coaches, they'll say things are more intense in men's sports and they push each other harder. I don't know. I've had plenty of screaming at me in women's sports, but like, maybe some of it is nurture more than nature. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But also at some point, I think there's, I too do not want anyone to get some sort of weird advantage that like, but I don't want anyone to get an advantage they shouldn't have. But also, I don't want to live in a world where we make things unfair for an entire group of people that already has, enough people being unfair assholes to them, So if it seems like after a couple of years, everything's fucking kosher, let them play. Let them play. Give them their number. Put them on the starting line. Bring them. I'm happy to have them. I want them on the team. That's what Ms. Auntie Babe says to all of that. So anyways, let's press on. But anyways, I know I kept saying I was going to get back to the Guevadoches, but we seem to have skipped onwards from that. I'm going to scroll and see if I can find a few more comments that I've missed. Let's see. A girl at my high school got her leg broken in powder puff foot. I don't even know what powder puff football is, but neither do I want to play it now. No. Hard pass. I've never had an interest in football. Hey, Ryan. It's good to see you, my friend. Let's see. I just had a conversation about let's see. Read that one already. Scrolling. See, I have a voice which sounds what some think of as female when I'm on the phone. I've lost count of the number of times I've been called ma'am, dear, and sweetheart. Oh man, with my voice being as low as it is, I got mistaken for my mother on the phone as early as like junior high. So I have a voice that if I really work it, I could go full Elizabeth Holmes and I could run myself a $1 zillion company and trick everybody into thinking that I could get Henry Kissinger to give me a lot of money and be on my board of directors. Isn't that fucking terrifying? If I could just sustain this voice for a long time and never blink, all I need to do is just keep this voice going forever and never blink. Wouldn't that be terrible? Nope. No. Ryan, are you okay, baby? We need to know. Ryan, what happened? Get into Discord. Get into Discord and tell us you're okay now. Are one of the wives taking care of you? Are both of the wives taking care? Is anyone taking care? Is somebody at that urgent care better be taking care of Ryan now? We won't. Look, this is an important time to make sure that you all know that we have a Discord server, and Ryan is one of our regulars who we love very much, and we need to make sure that he's also our number one oversharer, even more than I am, and we love it. It's your gallbladder. That's one of the most important bladders. You need that most of the time. Anyways, as it's getting image. Okay, you take care of yourself. I was gonna take off in the next few minutes after going through what they have to achieve their end goal. I don't see why everyone isn't just respectful of the effort and the physical/emotional toil to transition. I'm in awe of anyone who takes the plunge to become physically who they feel they really are. Thank you, Corey Thompson. If I had a prize to fucking give out, I'd hand it over to you. Thank you. That was a beautiful fucking thing to, yeah, I love that. Let's see, do we really need a gallbladder though? You know, my brother had his taken out and he's dead now. But I don't think the gallbladder had anything to do with it. I think it was the lupus. See, competitive oversharing, gold medal. Competitive oversharing, that is a prize that Ryan would, that's the game Ryan would win. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap things up here-ish because I do have to take off. However, tomorrow, how happy I will be. Anyways, so guys, tomorrow there's going to be, we're going to have a patron only live stream in which we're going to have, as usual, patriotic prank calling, where I will call, if you have an elected official that you would like Ms. Auntie Cybabe to leave a voicemail for, oh, I will leave a fucking voicemail for them that you won't forget anytime soon. If you would like to support me, Science Dog, do you need support? He does need support. If you would like to support me, Science Dog, or his adorable little redheaded cousins in any way, there are on my Amazon wish list that is linked somewhere below. Hello, an angry young man from the Twitchverse. I'm so sorry. You just get here. I'm leaving. I'm taking off. But if you want to support me in any way that is, not just directly sending me cash, cash is my favorite. I love to just pour it all over myself as I get into bed. No, I don't. Cash has cocaine on it, and that's not my favorite drug. You guys know what my favorite drug is. Moving on. If y'all want to support me in a way that is not cash, which I understand, there are a zillion dog treats on my Amazon wish list because these guys are going to put me out of house and home and kibble and bones. Anyways, there are a bunch of fucking dog treats on my Amazon wish list, and the little guys love them so much. There's also, look, I might put a butt plug on there today. Who knows? I could put some weird stuff on the Patreon, on the Patreon stream, on my Amazon wish list. There's been weirder stuff on there before, but there's an Amazon wish list. There are other ways you can do the, hey, thanks for what you do. They're all in the they're all somewhere down below, wherever you can see the description of the show. Anyways, I'm gonna just do the I know some of you perverts enjoyed that. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for joining me today. I will see some of you tomorrow. The Patreon stream I'm aiming for 12:30, but as usual, that depends on the number of times I trip over my cords setting this up. I'm not coordinated. I'm not at all coordinated. But I will see some of you guys tomorrow. I will see the rest of you guys. Corey, just for you. My dignity. It is smithereens. Anyways, I love you guys, and I will see some of you tomorrow.